Land Rover, the legendary, rugged, go-anywhere vehicle. Whether powering over a rocky trail, through the bush of Kenya or the mud of Madagascar, you knew it would pull you through. But the Land Rover's engineers were not satisfied. They set out to design a whole new class of vehicle, one which would combine the extraordinary toughness and capability of the Land Rover with the comfort and amenities of a European luxury sedan. A vehicle that would slog through the worst of it and take the pounding punishment on off-road driving without punishing the driver. And most importantly, a vehicle that could be as enjoyable to drive on the pavement as off. They designed the Range Rover, the vehicle that gives you off-road driving the rather exceptional way. The Range Rover is an unbeatably accomplished off-road vehicle, capable of taking you almost anywhere in comfort and style. In order to take advantage of these almost limitless possibilities, however, you must become familiar with its proper operation and drive it intelligently. Your main source of information is your owner's manual. Read it thoroughly. We're going to illustrate some of the techniques explained in the owner's manual and help you to enjoy off-road driving with your Range Rover. The techniques are quite straightforward and simple to learn, and some of them apply to all off-road driving situations. For example, know the terrain you'll be traveling across, and if you're unsure about it, be prepared to get out and walk it on foot first. Keep a firm grip on the steering wheel and keep your thumbs clear of the spokes. And when traveling over an obstruction, try to maximize traction by keeping 3 wheels on firm ground at all times. Your satisfaction in driving your Range Rover will increase as you master these techniques. Although off-road conditions are constantly changing, with experience, you should know the best way to handle any given situation. Use your common sense and don't drive in terrain or conditions which don't feel comfortable to you. The Range Rover has a permanent 4-wheel drive system. Unlike systems in which you have to select 4-wheel drive when required, Range Rover gives you the benefits and security of 4-wheel drive at all times, both on pavement and off. 2 controls operate the system: a familiar 4-speed automatic transmission lever and a second lever that operates a 2-speed transfer case. This arrangement allows the 4-speed transmission to operate in low or high range, providing a total of 8 forward and 2 reverse gears. This second lever also controls the center differential lock. Moving it to the left locks the front and rear drive together, evenly dividing the power. This can be done in any gear and at any speed. The amber indicator light will come on when the differential lock is engaged. Moving the lever to the right disengages the differential lock and turns off the indicator light. Your owner's manual contains further information on differential lock operation. When you're driving on a paved dry road, the lever is normally in the high range position and the differential lock should be disengaged. As a general rule, engage the differential lock whenever you're likely to lose traction, such as on a loose or slippery surface. If the road is smooth and level, you can remain in high range, but if the terrain starts getting rough, it's best to shift down to low range. Here's how. Let up on the accelerator pedal and let the vehicle slow down to below 5 miles per hour. While the vehicle's still moving, shift the automatic transmission into neutral, move the transfer case lever forward to low, and then shift back into gear. If you must cross a depression or ditch, approach it diagonally so that as you cross, you'll always have 3 wheels outside the ditch for better traction. Unlike lesser 4-wheel drive vehicles, the Range Rover has extremely long suspension travel. This helps the wheels to remain in contact with the ground as you work your way through difficult situations. The most sensible way to deal with an obstacle in your path is to avoid it if possible. However, if you can't go around, Range Rover's high ground clearance will enable you to drive over obstacles that some other vehicles wouldn't clear. The area of greatest ground clearance is under the driver's side of the vehicle. since the differentials are located under the passenger's side. Think about having the obstacle pass under you, the driver, to take advantage of this clearance. If you're unsure of the height of the obstacle, line up the vehicle so that your wheels pass over the obstacle and drive over it very slowly and carefully. Use your brakes to ease the wheel off the rock, and don't forget to use the same technique as the rear wheel comes down too. Muddy ruts require a different technique. Keep up your momentum and follow the ruts. If your wheels start to lose traction, ease off the throttle a bit until they regain their grip. The Range Rover's sophisticated power steering system is designed to meet the demands of high-speed highway driving as well as tough off-road travel. And while its steering damper is designed to reduce shocks, it's always good off-road technique to keep your thumbs clear of the spokes so that a severe kickback will not cause them to be struck. Grip the wheel firmly, but keep your thumbs out of the center area. If you're not sure what the terrain ahead of you is like, stop the vehicle, get out, and walk it on foot. Remember, engage the emergency brake and shift into park before leaving the vehicle. Before driving through water, check to see that the bottom is firm and that the water is not deeper than 20 inches, or about to the top of the wheel rim. Use third gear in low range for a firm bottom surface and keep the speed down to help keep the engine compartment dry. Upon leaving any water, apply light pressure to the brakes to help dry them out. Driving in loose sand requires some special preparation. The air pressure in your tires should be reduced to distribute the weight of the vehicle over a larger surface area. This helps the vehicle to float over the sand rather than digging in. Check your owner's manual for information on minimum tire pressures. Engage the differential lock. Put the vehicle into low range and shift down to third or second gear. The key to driving in loose sand is to maintain a steady pace and keep all movements smooth and even. Quick acceleration or braking may cause the wheels to lose traction or dig into the sand. As you approach a hill, keep up your momentum. The idea is to keep moving at a steady pace, which will keep the vehicle from bogging down in the sand. If you have to stop on sand, try to choose a place that's as firm and level as possible. And in tidal areas, don't park too close to the water. Remember, when driving on sand, don't choose too low a gear, and don't forget to reinflate your tires as soon as you get back on the pavement. Although the Range Rover is designed for the rough, you certainly don't have to rough it, for it has all the amenities you'd expect from a fine touring sedan. Power assists on seats, door locks, mirrors, windows, and optional sunroof mean you need only lift a finger to control your environment. And, of course, a fine stereo radio cassette system provides entertainment whenever desired. Once again, as you leave the pavement, lock the center differential. Range Rover's abilities off-road are enhanced by impressive approach and departure angles, the result of keeping the front and rear vehicle overhangs to a minimum. This careful design allows the vehicle to drive up or down slopes or handle terrain that would stop lesser vehicles. However, it's always wise in potentially difficult situations to be sure the terrain does not exceed these angles. If in doubt, here's a simple way to judge approach and departure angles. Slowly ease up to the terrain in question and be sure no part of the front of the vehicle touches the hill before the front wheels do. If the approach angle clears, carefully check the departure angle too. If any part of the vehicle touches, front or rear, carefully back away and find another way that will clear both approach and departure angles. Remember, if you're not sure of a situation, try to see if there's any easier way around it. Sometimes you just can't avoid a situation or an obstacle and have to go over it. With something like a log, the correct technique is to shift down to first gear and approach it diagonally. Ease over it very slowly, one wheel at a time, being sure that each wheel is turned perpendicular to the log as it crosses it. This lets the crossing tire get the best possible grip on the obstacle, while the other three wheels remain on the ground, providing traction. As each wheel crosses the log, use your brakes to ease it down and keep the vehicle fully under control. Because off-road vehicles are usually taller than average cars, it's important to know their boundaries in tight situations. Be aware of the physical size of the vehicle at all times, and pay particular attention to possible overhead obstacles, such as this overhanging tree. If in doubt, give yourself plenty of clearance at all times. For a steep downhill stretch, the proper technique is to shift to first gear, low range, with the center differential locked. Engine retardation will ease you down the hill slowly and in control. To avoid wheel lockup, don't use heavy braking during the descent. When you become accustomed to driving the vehicle and start dealing with difficult off-road terrain, you'll find you wouldn't want to be there in anything but a Range Rover. Whether you use your Range Rover in your profession, for the pleasure of just getting away from it all and relaxing, or the excitement and fun of family recreation, you'll have the pleasure of driving the most civilized off-road vehicle in the world. Range Rover, a rather exceptional vehicle.